Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about planetary energies that will be affecting us. That's right, today we are talking about Neptune in retrograde. And Neptune goes into retrograde usually every year, and we kind of get a great opportunity to kind of make some changes in our lives. So I'm going to be talking about the dates for Neptune in retrograde, kind of some of the things to kind of keep in mind while we do this, and then maybe some things that we might be ready to change or modify, some dates that we kind of have to know where there's going to be some key aspects coming in and changing some stuff for us, and then kind of some things like who is it going to affect more than other people. So keep in tune with this one. So let's get started with all things Neptune in retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So Neptune enters pre-shadow energy on March 9th and stations and turns full retrograde on June 30th through December 6th, and then it'll be in post-shadow energy until March 25th, 2024. So we have about a little over 5 months of this year in full retrograde, just a little bit over that time frame. So it's not necessarily bad. It's not one of the more harsh planets. The further out the planet is, kind of it affects everybody, but kind of just a little bit. So it's not an overwhelming like, oh my gosh, it's affecting everybody. Just know that it's going to be affecting us. Neptune kind of ends up playing with our emotions, our sensitivity. Sometimes people tell me that their psychic abilities go up with Neptune in retrograde. So you might feel more sensitive, you might feel a little more emotional, a little more overwhelmed at times, coming back down very easily, but just kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm tapped out. And almost this is a great time to kind of really do some inner thinking and kind of that introspection of kind of like, what do we want to change? What do we want to modify? And kind of really changing what's really Neptune is all about. So Neptune is the planet of dreams, ambitions, our dream life, kind of what else do we want to change? And it can really be our thoughts and our ideas and how we think about the world around us. So that can be something that really comes in really well. And Neptune just kind of takes everything to the next level. Neptune is just like, you're already thinking about this, let's take it to the next level. If you've already been thinking about this, let's go to the next level. So it's going to be like, oh my gosh, calm down a little bit. I think that's one of the interesting things about Neptune in retrograde. Now, one of the other interesting kind of like side effects about Neptune in retrograde is that Neptune affects our dreams. And so you may, during that time frame, especially June 30th through December 6th, you may feel, your dreams will be more vivid. They could be a little wonky at times, like kind of like, you know, having a dream within a dream, or kind of a dream and then kind of like you don't really finish that, and then everything flips around and changes. So you're kind of like, wait, what just happened? Neptune really makes us think about like, what do we want? What do we want? And so that's a great way to kind of really think about what do we want as we move into Neptune's energy in retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is all about the fish, all about the flow, and it's going to make our dreams flow in some different ways. So there might be, like I said, some interesting dreams that come out, and then other times like you wake up and you're just like, what? Why am I dreaming about this? It could also amplify people that in your life that have passed, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, aunts, uncles that you were really close to, coming back and giving you dreams during this time frame. And kind of, I would say it's kind of like nuggets of love, because they come in to kind of give you a little nudge of like, why don't you try this, or why don't you do this? So it's one of those, they're trying to come in to give you that little kick in the behind to kind of get things moving forward. One of the best things I can tell you is, because Neptune really affects our dreams and kind of like our ideas, our thoughts, it's a great thing if you're not into journaling. This is a great time to kind of bring up journaling, because we're kind of thinking about our thoughts And when we get into that, sometimes it's kind of like, was I thinking this verse? Was I thinking that verse? And back and forth, back and forth. So really the great part for us is to write down what we're thinking, you know, kind of like Dear Diary, kind of like I was thinking about this. And this can kind of bring in some new shifts of energy, really change things around us, really upgrade ourselves. But I will tell you, kind of keeping yourself really grounded can help as well. Now, Neptune in retrograde kind of is an airy-fairy sign, kind of like let's not get too deep into things. And it doesn't mean like you need to ground all the time or every day, but make sure that you do it enough so if you start having too many wonky dreams, then that's kind of like your indication of your sign, like you really need to do a grounding meditation in all of this. We also have some other planets that are going into retrograde around this. We also just have Saturn that's going to be going into retrograde in just a couple of days. And so that will also be affecting us, and they're going to hit a couple of times during this time frame to kind of bring up some stuff for us to kind of change, allow some changes to come in. One of the things I would really say to kind of avoid during Neptune retrograde is kind of thinking about the past too much. Kind of don't look, like, if you need to, yes, do it. But I will say don't completely look at the past. Don't completely just kind of like, let's go to the past and let's stay there. Especially if you've been running away from things. That's the only time you really want to be looking at the stuff from the past. And now how can I walk through this, or how can I move through this? And if you need help, call someone, a friend, a family, or a psychic to help you move through some of that energy. It can help a lot. What should you be doing in Neptune in retrograde? Journaling your dreams, kind of keeping track of your dreams so you can kind of keep track of what's coming up, when it's coming up, how it's coming up, and how it is affecting you. And it's usually going to like be that dreamy kind of state that's going to be affecting you more than anything else. Sometimes people don't sleep very well during Neptune in retrograde. Some people sleep much, much better. And either way, sometimes those dreams really come in of how do you make some changes? How do you make some upgrades for you? And making them easy. Also, Neptune really brings us into a time usually about being very creative and what are the changes that you would like to create in your life, or how do you like to create? Maybe it's art, music, anything else. Sometimes it's just kind of getting out of your comfort zone in all of this and making some amazing changes. As we kind of immerse ourselves into like thoughts of changing and how to do things, make sure that you're keeping track of this. Journaling is the best way to do this, like I said, and make sure that you are kind of reconsidering. Maybe there's some dreams that you let go of in the past that now are in the realm of possibilities. It's like, never thought they'd come back up. So make sure that you're looking at those. A lot of times people will get like this kick of inspiration, like, wow, I thought I would never do this, and now I'm getting an opportunity to do this. And during this time frame of Neptune in retrograde, and a lot of times that can bring in a lot of creative energy for us. It can bring us a lot of times of kind of like how to analyze like where we want to be on our life path, where we want to be going at this time, and really how to work through our life purpose and keeping track of everything. That's kind of one of those special notes, like keep track of things. I will tell you that being realistic on your life path, usually it's something you love to do. So it's one of those, it doesn't mean like you have to do exactly what you think. It could be some realm of healing or working through things or helping others or assisting others, and just know that that's part of what's coming in for you, and to make those changes really quick and really fast for you. Like I said, Neptune really kind of gives us some subtle kind of kicks along the way of kind of like, okay, let's keep hopping around. This is a great time to kind of, like I said, look towards our ambitions and what we want to do, change, or modify in them. And our perspective can really change in Neptune in retrograde. Sometimes people can get stuck in Neptune in retrograde because it can kind of leave us in that dream life or that fantasy life. And those are great breaks, kind of retreats, kind of like take it back for a minute, daydream for a little while. yet at the same time, it's not meant for us to stay there forever. And I will tell you that more often than anything else, what I hear about in Neptune in retrograde is people playing a lot more video games, watching a lot more, binge watching a lot more, because it's like, I'd rather focus on everybody else, you know, what's going on in front of me, and not what I've got to be doing. So if you find yourself playing tons of video games, watching movie after movie or show after show, kind of that binge watching, this is a really great time to kind of really, I need to change some things. Escaping for a little bit of time is okay. It's escaping for long periods of time where it's kind of like, now you're not living your life. You're letting somebody else take over, and that's not always a good thing. Like I said, we have about 5.5 months of this Neptune in retrograde, and it is common for people to kind of really kind of rethink things, re-go through things, and kind of bringing up those dreams and delusions sometimes of kind of like, I thought I could do this. I thought I could be a pediatrician, but I don't have that. It's like there may be some other aspect of it. If it's coming back up, kind of do that rethinking of it. Like, how can I put this into effect? Neptune is in retrograde in the planetary ruler. Neptune is the planetary ruler of Pisces. So this is kind of like Neptune is in its home sign, and it's going to really be an interesting one. It's going to be feel a little bit stronger than normal, but not a whole lot stronger than normal. This really transit really expects us to kind of do some subconscious thinking, some conscious thinking, and kind of connect to our dream world. And what do we want to come out of this? How do we want to make our changes? How do we want to move forward in this? We are able to kind of change our perceptions and kind of reveal things differently than we've done in the past. And this can really cause a lot of like surprises to occur around us. Make yourself prepared to hear and see and experience things that you normally don't do. Neptune in retrograde reveals matters of like things that we have to know more about, kind of like bringing this in. And I will tell you, kind of the fun one is you may have some amazing dreams that give you some amazing insight. That's why it's great to journal them. Let's talk about some key dates for Neptune in retrograde. Really, the first one is August 22nd, and we have Mars in the sign of Virgo in opposition Neptune in retrograde. And this aspect is really going to keep us kind of stuck, or kind of feeling like we're stale in this energy and unable to make some move forwards. And it'll be a few days before and a few days after as kind of we get ready to make that aspect and come out. Although we may feel stuck, it's only a temporary situation, so kind of really relax and take it easy, but you'll feel stuck for a few days, and then it's like, okay, here we go. The next one, on September 19th, our sun in the sign of Virgo is in opposition to Neptune in retrograde. And at this time, we may feel like we're not getting the attention we deserve. We could have a lot of high anxiety, a lot of stress could arise over anything that's taking time away from what we really think is important. And I will tell you, a lot of times, especially if it's something that we think is kind of taking our limelight away from us, kind of like, hey, I'm supposed to be the star of the show today. And this can be a kind of some time that we kind of like let go of some of that and know that we've got to balance this out. Yes, you get the limelight. Yes, you get the you know what I'm saying, like to be special for a period of time, but at the same time, maybe it's time for you to take a step back. So it's kind of like, where do we go in this one? Next, on October 2nd, we have Mercury in the sign of Virgo opposing Neptune in retrograde. And this is going to be creating a lot of miscommunications, The few days before and a few days after, be double, triple careful of what emails you send, what text messages you send. Don't commit to anything right away. Like if someone asks you to do something, like tell them like, let me think about this, or let me look at my schedule or whatever else. It's not that you can't say yes to it or you should say no to it. What I'm saying is take the time to really think about, how is that going to fit in my schedule? How is this really going to work? The last key aspect for us to know about is on November 3rd. Venus in the sign of Virgo in opposition to Neptune in retrograde. This is not going to be a day to kind of overspend or overdo, but trusting people, who aren't really trustworthy or honest is going to be out there like anything else. And you may feel like, I really feel like I need to help with this person, or I need to give them some deep insight into what's going on. But it's one of those, this may be a day where you kind of like, let's pull this back. There's some trust issues out there and about. Really, Neptune in the sign of Pisces in retrograde will be kind of intense for everybody, but it's one of those, it is going to be really intense for people that are kind of opening up to their psychic abilities and kind of bringing that side in. And it may be time for you to kind of collect in or click into your shadow side. It can be just a time where you feel like, even if it scares you, I've got to click into this and take a hold of my abilities. I have so many people during Neptune in retrograde that are kind of like, okay, I'm really ready to make some changes in my abilities or get this under control. So it's really important. Probably most challenging are going to be for air signs like Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Probably because they're going to be forced to be very practical, which they're normally not used to. And they may kind of embrace their intuition a little bit more than they normally do. So this kind of may bring up more intuitive answers or benefits, or kind of like, okay, what else do I need to do in this? Really, this is going to benefit a lot of water signs because it's in the sign of Pisces. So you're going to see that with Cancers, Scorpios, and Pisces kind of adding to their intuition, bringing up their art forms of kind of like, how do I vibe in the world? How do I bring my energy into the world around me? And just know that this is a time frame for us to really open up into what's changing in our world. And how are we going to make those changes? How are we going to make those changes stick? How are we going to make those changes last? And our abilities are something that usually during Neptune retrograde will amp up, and then they'll come down, and then they'll amp up to that level again and kind of stay. So usually they come down so we can get like a little bit of a break. So let's do some angel cards and get us some amazing insight. I've got 3 right off the bat. Literally, I have, that's 4 of them, like literally just popped out like this. So I'm going to do it one at a time. Here we go. This one is the 12th house, and this is all about our introspection. This is what Neptune is talking about, kind of giving us a new insight, that new way to see things, our new way to kind of amplify this energy, new ways to kind of make some changes around us. Next, Neptune, yay, all about our vision and our viewpoint. We will be changing our viewpoint on a lot of things and kind of rethinking things around us. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we might kind of like, I thought it was this way and now I think it's differently. That's kind of a new way to think about it. This is Saturn. This is all about our structure. Making changes to how we see things and how we really work with this energy is really important. And make sure that you're doing the work. Don't get so much caught up into, I want to watch videos and play games and all that kind of stuff. Make sure that you're doing work. A little bit of a break is okay, but make sure you're doing the work that you need to be doing. And the last one is Pisces, and this is all about sensitive. And kind of, we are going to feel sensitive. We are going to feel this energy amping up. Not that it's bad, it's going to be amping up. And I will tell you, this is a great time to open to our abilities. And like I said, make sure you're journaling like your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas. And then also make sure you're journaling your dreams as well. This is our conjunction, and this is all about the alliance. This is all coming together, all of these planets together. Pluto in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde, Neptune in retrograde, blah, blah, blah. All this kind of comes together to make some amazing changes for us. It kind of really open up the gates, kind of like, what are the changes that you're ready to make? What are the changes that you're really ready to move forward into? What is it that you're ready to change? What is it that you're ready to kind of like, yes, I'm ready to make that change? There may be some changes that you're kind of like, oh, I've been afraid of this for a while. Make sure you find a great support system. Make sure you bring in some amazing people to help with all of this. As you make some changes and upgrades, doesn't mean that it's bad, just means that you're ready to kind of finally step into that energy. Mars, motivation. Here's your motivation. Mars is going to kick you in the behind, because Mars is all about action and kind of motion and moving forward. Make sure that you're moving forward in this Neptune retrograde energy. It is going to be amazing and bring in some amazing energy for us. Our last card is the Sun, and this is our source. What are the changes that we want to make? That source energy, our angels, our guides are all coming around to make sure that we're making the changes that we're ready to make, and literally giving us the resources and the sources to kind of keep moving forward. This is also a great time in Neptune in retrograde to really get if you're really into meditation, this is a really great time to go visit the Akashic records several times during this time frame to kind of really amp up the changes that you're making in your life, because it's going to be amazing to make some changes, to make some upgrades, and to really change what's going on around you. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.